Besides over 10 million miles of Street View imagery, that's 20 trips to the moon and back, Google Earth's satellites have already covered 98% of the globe. And among all that, you can find some hidden gems if you know where to look. Like these strange wheels etched into the surface of our planet. Experts think the structures might date back to 8,500 years. If so, this makes them older than Peru's famous geoglyphs known as the Nazca lines. The wheels slightly vary in design. Some of them have spokes radiating from the center, others just a couple of bars. There are structures that aren't even circular. Instead, they're shaped like triangles or squares. And how about this giant face that emerges from the surrounding landscape? You can only see it from the air. That's the Badlands Guardian in Canada. The coolest thing about this wonder is that human hands took no part in shaping this mass of rock. The face was formed when rainwater eroded layers of clay soil. By the way, it may also seem that the person is wearing earphones. A bullseye in the Middle East looks like one of the wheels we've just seen, but there are also 3 triangles pointing at the eye and small piles of stones that lead from the triangles to the central wheel. There's no clear understanding why or how the structure appeared. In Oregon, you can find a giant Firefox logo in the middle of a cornfield. Spanning more than 45,000 square feet, it was created in 2006 to celebrate the browser's 50 millionth download. And while we're in the Northwest state, we'll uncover a secret hiding in the woods. Yes, an entire commercial airplane. Even more, it was remade into a home. Let's zoom in. It looks like an old, deserted transport ship. But does it sprout a forest? Right, that's a 102-year-old ship in Australia called the S.S. Ayrfield. This 1,100-ton behemoth used to carry coal. Around 50 years ago, the ship was supposed to be dismantled. But something went wrong. Time eventually transformed the ship into a floating forest. And how will you like this? A phantom island. About 10 years ago, a group of scientists in Australia undiscovered an island in the South Pacific. It was as large as Manhattan in size. Sandy Island just mysteriously popped up on all maps one day. But when researchers arrived at the spot a few years later, they found nothing but open water there. No solid ground whatsoever. Some experts believe it was a pumice raft that later disappeared. There's an enormous triangle in Arizona. Some people are sure it's an abandoned airfield, but even if there's no mystery behind the triangle, it still looks jaw-dropping. By the way, some people claim to have seen the triangle while flying over the area. This giant star is as puzzling as it is impressive. You can find it in the windswept steppes of Central Asia. Of course, there are tons of out-there theories explaining the bizarre form of the construction. But the truth is much less intriguing. It's just the outlines of a park, and the circle around the star is the road around the park. It's lined with trees, which makes it even more visible in aerial photos. Is that a spiral portal? An ancient monument? Nah, just an art installation called Desert Breath. This 1 million square foot design was created in 2007 to celebrate the desert as a state of mind. One day, a TikTok user spotted several figures standing in a circle in a deserted mining town in Nevada. It happened when they zoomed in on a patch of land in the desert. The circular object looked like a thumbprint. A bit closer and whoa! An ominous-looking house nearby. If you look around, you'll get goosebumps when you see a cloaked figure standing near a bicycle. And not far off, a whole group of them. They seem to be performing some bizarre ritual. At first, you'll think you've stumbled upon something you're not supposed to see. But do some digging, and you'll find out this is also an art installation called The Last Supper. People often visit these statues while exploring the Mojave Desert. Another odd pattern can be found near the Cinder Cone volcano on the north side of the Grand Canyon. It looks like a scattering of little hills. And experts say, ants may be responsible for this wonder. This region is home to red harvester ants. They build nesting mounds that can be 4 feet across. Each of such mounds is usually surrounded by a patch of bare land up to 110 square feet. And exactly these mounds might be what looks like hundreds of scattered circles from up there. If there aren't enough heart-shaped lakes in your life, go to the heart-shaped state of Ohio. You might find a place perfect for a romantic date there. Hey, how about this large monkey face in Russia? Is it some trick of nature, or maybe there's something more behind this phenomenon? No one knows for sure. You might have been to an island in a lake, or even an island in a lake on an island. But I bet you haven't ever seen the world's largest island in a lake on an island in a lake on an island. We'll head to Canada for a peek. The place you'll be looking for is a narrow patch of land in the middle of a small lake. This lake is, in turn, encapsulated by a larger island. You can find this gem on Victoria Island. You ever wonder what happens when airplanes get pulled out of use? They go to an airplane boneyard, of course. Deserviced aircraft get sent to a special storage facility where they're left until their parts can be salvaged or reused later on. The one in Tucson, Arizona is by far the largest in the world. You can easily see it from space. That says a lot. One of the biggest in the world, the swimming pool at the San Alfonso Del Mar Resort in Chile spans over half a mile in length. Imagine how long it would take you to do laps in that thing. There's an array of mysterious structures and intricate patterns in the Gobi Desert in China. One of them is a stunning grid of straight lines weaving back and forth every 100 feet. The pattern stretches more than 20 miles. Experts say this is most likely an antenna array. That's a system used for tracking weather and doing atmospheric research. In 2003, Bolivian cargo ferry S.S.Jassim ran aground near the coast of Sudan. After that, it sank to the bottom. But the length of the vessel makes it one of the largest shipwrecks on the planet. That's why you can see it on Google Earth. In the UK, you can find a huge white lion walking in the fields of Bedfordshire. Unfortunately, it's only visible from above, and it's made entirely of chalk. The king of the jungle also serves a practical purpose. Its head points to the Whipsnade National Park in case you get lost. Fun fact, the lion is home to cavies and wallabies that jump all across its body. So much for a fierce savanna hunter. Now let's head to Africa to see some real animals. Google Earth even has a dedicated section called Animals from Above. A group of hippos getting a drink from the river in Kenya, a massive wildebeest herd not far away. And head a little further north in the country to see this. Those pink dots are all flamingos getting some grub from Lake Nakuru. This lake is famous for having thousands, sometimes millions of the pink birds in it. On other parts of the African continent, you can see some seals hanging out on the beach in Namibia, and a group of elephants sipping from a watering hole in South Africa. What looks like a star at first is actually a fort in the Netherlands. It was built almost 500 years ago, but in 1851, the fort was turned into a village, and 100 years later, locals decided to restore it and convert the place into a historical museum.